Hello everybody, welcome back to my pocket knife therapy channel where I go through my grandfather's pocket knives and look for a little bit of history of these guys and just get to know them a little bit better and share them with the world. Today I have for you some J.S. Holler and Company pocket knives, all mother of pearl, of course. These are pretty neat. As I drop them, little mini pocket knives. A lot of them are kind of sharpened down a lot, as you can see. See if I can get the tang stamp in there. These guys were all made in Solingen, Germany, and then made their way over to the States here via wholesalers. There's a little bit of confusion going on with me because there's a couple of wholesalers involved from what I made a little research. Some people were importing them from New York, I think. But also they're importing them into San Francisco. So I think it was, is it this one? Sorry. I think it was this one. There's the J.S. Holler and Company of Germany, and then there's an Adolf Blake or Blake in San Francisco, and the Adolf Blake is the importer. And he was in San Francisco. So, pretty neat. They were importing these knives. Yeah, it's this one. Sorry, as I ponder these things. These have been around since 1885 to, and this is where it gets a little hazy, some of these pocket knives were between 1885 and 1906. So I see a lot of people saying, yay, I have 100-year-old knives. This one's pretty cool because it's got the scissors. But then the more I look, the more I see that they were importing these between 1885, either up until 1954 or 1988. So these seem like old knives, but they might not be. I mean, they're all old, of course. 1988 is old at this point, and I very much doubt that these are in the 80s. But some of these were imported between, I have seen a bunch of different date varies. Some of them are 1893 to 1915, which seems likely. I think this first one that I was showing, this Adolf Blake, was the one that has the, most likely between, between 1885 and 1906. So that you got some pullback of some of this mother of pearl and stuff like that. These other ones do not have Adolf Blake on them, just the J.S. Holler and Company, Germany stamps, but it has an arrow insignia. But pretty nice little mother of pearl gentleman knives here. So there's this one. This one's pretty neat. This is kind of, I believe this is a Whittler pattern, but it's pretty beat up, pretty used up. It has this nail file guy with the nail cleaner thing, I believe. And then you have these two blades that are just ground down to nothing. There's their J.S. Holler. And then on this side, another blade that's ground down. And then one that is completely broken in there. I can't even, I mean, I'm sure I can get tools or whatnot to get that out of there, but I'm not going to struggle with it too much. So this one, you know, it looks pretty nice, but it's pretty beat up. So yeah, but they are pretty cool little knives. At least these two. I mean, even this one. It's just that it's pretty used up here on this one. But these two guys are pretty nice. Especially this one with the scissors is pretty neat. Still got a little spring in there. I'm sure it just needs to be kind of bent into shape or something, but I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, I mean they seem old. I just, you know, not being a knife expert here, as I've mentioned over and over and over again, I'm not going to claim, hey, this is a 100-year-old knife or whatnot. It seems like it probably is, but I'm not going to start making those claims. So, do my usual thing here. It's kind of, you know, back in the day, especially if these are from early 1900s, I don't know. I might have had to do more homework before I got on here, but I don't know when the Panama Canal was constructed. And the reason I am thinking about the Panama Canal is if it was not constructed by 1900s, then I could not imagine these pocket knives coming into San Francisco over by the sea, because that's a big long trip. I would guess, and all of this is guessing, is that it would come through New York first and then go across the states and end up in San Francisco. But if the Panama Canal was constructed by then, maybe it did go directly to San Francisco. Nice snap on all of these guys. We got this nail file here. Regardless, it's in real nice shape. All of these guys are in real nice shape. Except for the third one. What else? I'm going to go through 3 knives, so what can I talk about here? I might talk about my grandmother maybe a little bit. My grandfather's wife was interesting. She supported my grandfather, of course. Was known for her cooking. She was a pretty good cook. My grandfather was a hunter, hunted in wherever he was, would hunt deer an awful lot, and would bring home the deer, and she would cook the deer. My understanding, she didn't particularly want to. She did it because that's what women did back then. You didn't do much else besides take care of the home. So she would cook whenever he hunted. He didn't. That was his big thing, deer. But he would hunt duck and geese. What else? Dove, quail, fished an awful lot, of course. I think I did that one already, didn't I? As I'm thinking about my grandmother and my grandfather, I'm losing track of which knives I've oiled. Yeah, so, you know, lots of birds and stuff like that. I don't think, you know, if it was available to be hunted in California, he would hunt it. I don't think he hunted bear or hog or anything like that. But But yeah, so she would cook all that stuff up for them. She was really good at making breakfast. She had her cast iron pans that she would make eggs and bacon in. By the time I was sort of aware of all this stuff, she was kind of, in our family, known for making lemon meringue pie. So that was always fun to eat her lemon meringue pie. Let's see. Not an especially nice woman, to be honest. She had her moments, but she would let you know her displeasure at things. So the mother of pearl, I digress, the mother of pearl, I'm just going to use water on because I've learned that mineral oil can start making it darker and stuff. So this is water going on here. Yeah. She outlived my grandfather by, let's see, 10, almost 20, like 23 years, something like that. They were 10 years apart. What else? She would always get on my grandfather whenever. Notice that there's a little crack in there, which is a bummer, but not horrible. But yeah, so this guy's got a crack in it. Yeah, she would get on my grandfather's case about whenever he kind of acted out and started to get a little funny. She would get on him. And according to my father, my father, she was kind of hard on him, just like grandfather. And sometimes we would wonder if my grandfather was grumpy because of her. But, she raised the kids, took care of the home. Can't fault her too much. She was, in her later life, she make paintings. We have a few of her watercolor paintings hanging up in our home. So yeah, that was my grandfather's wife. She wasn't a horrible person or anything, just not not a lot of happiness in her life, I guess I could probably say, which is probably kind of common for at least U.S. women. She grew up in the Depression. None of my family grew up, they had money. It's pretty solidly middle-class upbringing. My grandfather, when he was growing up on a ranch. So they owned, they were landowners in Colorado, came out here, but they worked for the state. So not poor, not rich, pretty middle-class folks. But yeah, grew up on a farm in the Depression. But I don't think they were, I don't have any stories of them barely surviving or anything like that, but they certainly grew up in that era. And so, growing up on a farm in the Depression was not the most glamorous of lives, so, you know, it's just, she was just very much of the time, you know, the people, you know, the stuff that she grew up in and stuff wasn't super happy time, so I think that was part of her personality. Trying to joke around with her or have fun was losing proposition. She would give you the look like you were just bothering her. But she made a mean lemon meringue pie every Thanksgiving. American Thanksgiving. We would go over there and have a big feast and with everything. So she was a really good cook. So that was my grandmother. Yeesh. These aren't in the best shape, but considering their age, they're pretty good. Yeah, both of my grandparents on my father's side were just, you know, I feel kind of awkward and somewhat bad with these pocket knives. Fair warning, I'm going to be bitching and moaning about family drama here. I don't have a great number of happy memories with my grandparents. They were fine. I could have had worse grandparents, and some people didn't even have grandparents, so I should be lucky. But I just don't have fond memories of them. They just weren't particularly fun to be around. So yeah, and these pocket knives are kind of a reminder of that. I didn't have anything against them, meaning I'm not over here angry with them every day and that kind of thing. They were, like I said, of their time. They, you know, World War II, when they got married, and just real serious people. So, you know, I don't know if it makes sense. I may not have liked them very much, but I respected them, and I respect what they did and how they lived their lives. They were good people. Didn't get into trouble or anything. I wouldn't be here without them. And so in the vein of that respect is what I'm doing here with these pocket knives. But it's one of the reasons why it's difficult for me to look at these pocket knives and be like, oh, these are great. It's hard to be sentimental with people that I don't know, it's hard to, they didn't treat me particularly bad, but they didn't treat me well either. So I just don't have a great connection. And then with that said, I've talked about this before. My sort of personality and mannerisms and everything are very much with my father, with them. So just day to day, just being real serious and not talking a lot. It's very much matched with them, so it's kind of a weird scenario. Like, I felt most comfortable around them as far as all my family and stuff like that, but I still didn't enjoy it. If that makes sense. So yeah, you know, there's issues there. So if you're coming over here from eBay and you just want to see what the pocket knives look like, I apologize for you also getting family drama. Okay, there's that guy. It's nice looking. Wonder if anybody's made it this far. You can just mute me so you can look at these nice pocket knives and not deal with the drama. So it's weird. I don't quite know how to explain it. That people, I don't know if it makes sense to anybody else, but so I didn't particularly like them, but I respect them. And here I am today. So when it comes to keeping these pocket knives, I don't, I like them. I've said this before. I like them. They are neat. I'm having fun discovering things about them, and I'm continuously surprised by what they are worth and what my grandfather had here, which is I had no idea. But as far as keeping them around and being sentimental with them and being proud of this collection, just not my thing. So it's another reason why I am selling them, because I don't look at these and I look at them and definitely remember my grandfather for sure, but those memories are never like, oh, I had this nice time with my grandfather, or that's pretty neat. I've told a couple stories that he's made me laugh, or they were kind of neat, but for the most part, it was memories of a pretty severe dude. As a father myself, it is in a lot of ways somebody who I try not to be. From stories from my father growing up, didn't sound like a very particularly great childhood. Although I get conflicting reports. I would talk to my aunt about, and of course she was a girl, so maybe she had a different experience, but she always liked my grandfather and liked growing up, so she had a better experience than my father, I guess. But it's all a mystery. Every time I would ask about it, people would get super vague. Every time I asked about these pocket knives, people would get super vague. Oh, it's just something he did. So it's kind of a little bit, sometimes I think about this collection, I get kind of angry because I wish they would have told me more about these knives or gotten into them a little bit more, but it was more just nothing. So I appreciate them. Grandpa, if you're out there listening, I very much appreciate getting these knives, and they are providing me with a lot of interest, and they're providing a lot of happiness for people in the world, so thank you for that. As the helicopter goes over. Anyways, there we go. I think that's about it. So, 3 pretty cool mother of pearl J.S. Holler and Company. Another fine example of German cutlery. Along with a healthy dose of family drama. So if I know my shapes right, Whittler pattern. The 4 blades, 3 really, and the equal-ended something or others. Cigar shape guy, and another equal-ended guy. These old gentleman's knives, pretty cool. All right, boys and girls, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with that. Hope you enjoyed watching the knives, getting a little bit more history. Okay, until next time.